people that don't want to take responsibility, but they want progress, credibility, being able, have speed, have all this credit, money, lots of momentum, but they have a blockage in them, which means they have a regression, like a need to move through regression. And so instead of dealing with that, they pick somebody, or they created a victim that they trap, they break, ruin, make them their lives hard, trap them in so they can't get out, and make them go backwards. They project the past onto them. They put them in the back, and so they use them in the back as a representation of their regression. So every time they move, every cycle they move with focus on progression, they hit that blockage within them. If they have that blockage and they have created this reality for themselves, they hit that blockage in themselves, and instead of meeting it, they just hook up on someone who is in regression, and they take the regression for them. And so they're the person that keeps on like progressing and always forward. Like, I only look forward and never reflect. Everything's just more money, more goals, more people hired, more all this, and all like at the same time, there's people just breaking around them, people breaking in the shadows that that take their fucking regression for them, are continuously doing their emotional labor for free without recognition. I was that person in the back, in the shadows, for 30 something years. And you know what? That is toxic AF. So if you're that person, just be aware if this is what's going on. It's exploitation. It is exploitation. It is human exploitation. Let's just call it what it is, exploitation. And somebody needs to call this shit out. What happens is people in the back try and get out because they're fucking trapped. So they work, but they're often like, if you're not aware of this, you just keep attracting people that or actually your programming will keep grabbing onto people that will just send emotional labor your way constantly. And you might even not know that it's happening. You might think it's all yours, but it's not. And you don't work for anybody else. You don't work for free. You don't work emotional shitty shit in the shadows. You step out into the light without anybody, without trembling over anybody. But when you understand this, that somebody in the light, which I represent right now because I dare to go out and speak publicly and I own myself as myself, talked about helping and actually wanting to help people in the shadows, because I know what it feels like. Your job in the shadows is to acknowledge and recognize when somebody in the light wants good for you, and not come out in the spite. But not that that might be happening, because I try really hard to be aware of my alignment, which is to not feed into urgency, not go out in desperation or rebel or crazy wild, unrooted, misaligned, crazy action. I don't do that. I know that I can get out anytime, even when I know I can't because I have some kind of a limitation. I just assume, and I know in my being that I want to align with the energy of I can always get out, and because I can always and easily get out, I don't have to get out by fighting. I don't have to get out by opposing. I don't have to get out by fighting or cheating or lying or anything like that. I do it from integrity, and I do it from wanting everybody the best, including myself. And because I've seen and I come from an environment where the darkness and the darkness and the bad things would always come first. They would always come first, and they would win. And that's not the world that we're creating. It's not the world we're creating. The darkness is something that can be held back if it's actually darkness, and if it's if it doesn't have good intentions. But a lot of people in the dark are in the other people's shadow because they delegate this emotional labor to them. And people, because it's an emotional, it's an emotional entanglement and an emotional land of everything that's happening. People don't always know how to, like, is this mine or what is happening? Like, so this is why I think it's important to talk about it, and you will know from your own feelings and feeling into yourself if it's other people's. And it came to a point for me where it was so clearly other people's, because if I asked, please let whatever, my angels, guides, or myself, my higher self, send back the emotions that are not mine, and it would go away like that. And it came to a point where I was literally possessed by people all the time. And it happened after I had an experience with, whatever, it's a long story, but like it felt like a crack in my brain. This crack was like a portal for evil spirits, which was in this case, first it was evil spirits, like, but then it became like personalized, actually people that were like had very dark unresolved issues in themselves, that just felt like I was, because I go deep and I go, like, I fulfilled, I checked some boxes that they would use in their cycle to move through. And instead of them actually going deep themselves, they just tap into my energy, and then they don't have to go deep and look at their shit. So I would constantly be actually possessed. And so that's how I knew that, like, hey, this is not my emotions. Asked me maybe 2 years ago if I would ever speak like this, I would have said absolutely not, never. And would I ever have sunk into a level of victimhood and darkness and shit that I have? I would have said absolutely not, never. And I would never point out like that, like, their shit, it's their feelings, it's, no, I won't fucking work for you for free, you bitch. Like, but you know what? I would resolve everything at an energetic level. I would resolve anything at and everything at I would take responsibility. But it also, that kept me stuck. I still believe in that method. However, it has to be combined with the material world, like the actual physicality of, what the fuck are you thinking, asking me to do that shit for you when we hardly know each other, and you're not even giving me any compensation payment wise, or you're not, like, what the fuck are you doing? So that is a boundary, and I honor my own boundaries. I used to go into guilt after, because of the way that I would set boundaries. I don't do that anymore. I learn every time, and I try to not give away too much of my anger or rage, because it's depleting. So, like, my rage is my power. It's part of my identity rooting. So when I let go of that too much, I'm not in my power. So I learned that. However, like, I don't hide my anger, and I'm not ashamed of my anger, and I'm not ashamed of my fire. Actually, I never feel more me than when I actually show the world my fucking rage. And what I've learned in my life is that I was a victim of as a child, I was a victim of misplaced anger. And that is actually what fucked me up a lot, actually. Defined my whole life as a shit pile. However, Um, I thought the anger was the problem, but really it was a misplacement of anger, which is also like misplacement of actual passion, of sexuality, of all these root chakra things that are so important, that they're precise. And I'm here to live a very, very precise life. And I'm not here to be wild. I'm not here to be uncontrollably insane and be rewarded for that. I am. I can express myself in crazy ways if I want. Um, like not crazy ways, but like this, I think it makes sense. And if I think it makes sense, it makes sense because it is arranged. However, it is wild, but I have actually formed it. And when I do that, I feel in control, and I'm not just like leaving things to chance. And I'm not throwing around shit, hoping for the best. Like, no, precision with points is everything. And that's why they say like direction before speed. Direction before speed. Otherwise, you will go so darn fast into the wrong place, and then nothing matters. Like, you will break your own heart. Trust me, because this is what I've been doing. And we're not going to do that. We're going to be specific. We're going to actually, speed can be okay and good, more than okay. Like, speed can be, if it's an authentic rhythm and you're based on truth and authenticity, is what matters. And it's better to go slower and to be precise and have the perfect destination and end up in the perfect place where you actually have a purpose, where you actually are safe, where you actually get what you want because you are where you want to be, pointing at the thing that you want, and you actually are there, and you're not like over there pointing in like, but I wanted to be over there, why am I here? Like, that latter thing, that is the most painful experience to have in life. We don't want to do that. We want to do the thing where it gets precise and you get exactly what you want. I get exactly what I want. Every one of us gets exactly and ends up exactly where we want. And part of that is to be very, very deliberate and very, very, very precise, like surgically precise with our cuts, like breakups, when we separate things, how we separate them, the intention we separate with, how we connect things again, rearrange how we place how our intention is and what our energy is when we place it, and that we create from a place of consideration where it's like, okay, what do we want to keep and what do we want to not keep, and we take away gently, deliberately what we don't want to keep, and then we keep what we want to keep. And I grew up with people that were responsible for me, supposed to be responsible for me, and there was no discernment. It's like everything's just a blur. I don't know what I want to keep. Like if I was a drawing, it was just like, like. That is like, even the energy I put forth there, it's the most gross thing ever. Like, it's fucking gross. That uncontrollably just release of like no tension. You can't hold any fucking tension. You don't have any decision. You don't do any discernment. You just release into. I cannot do it because it's not definition. It's not power. It's not creative power. It is not power. It's not power in life. Luck is a fucking illusion. Luck is something that, by all means, if you want to rely on it, feel free. Be my guest. I do not want to rely on luck. I did that for many years in my career as a photographer. And yeah, great photos, but I fucking hated my life. It ruined my life because I was just not on the path. And deliberacy and eye for detail and actually accuracy and deliberacy is not opposing feeling and flow. It is something that can coexist with feeling. And whenever you, like, obviously you want to feel all the time internally, but you create a feeling of an experience of flow when you put things together deliberately, because everything actually, instead of like do this is not flow. But if you are deliberate, you can actually make things connect. And when that's precise, those connections are precise, the more precise they are, the more equal they are to meet exactly, the more energy will flow smoothly, because it's seamless. So I'm so dedicated. I'm very, very dedicated and passionate about creating these experiences in life, precise experiences. And of course, to do that, I need alignment. I want and a focus on alignment and realignment, constant realignment. How many times can just a constant of eternal alignment. And of course, to do that, I have to, life things, I have to know the difference. Life things, I have to know the contrast. So I have been pushed completely to the side. I can only feel half of my body. Everything is turning this way after I had some trauma, and like an trauma experience with something happening, and that event went very fast, combined with I had an intention, but I was tapping into somebody else's consciousness that wasn't actually my truth, and something else unfolded as I was doing this, and I was trying to hide something. So I was also not in alignment with my truth, like with, well, my truth, yes. If you had asked me, I was in alignment with my truth, but I wasn't in alignment with my soul's truth, which was much more truth-based than I was living at that time. Doing things that was not supposed to be seen by the daylight. I thought it was supposed to be seen by the daylight, but the guy I was with did not. And so I went into that whirlwind of a situation, and I became the back end, the regression person for other people. And so that cost me a hell of a lot of human resources, my well-being, my peace, my integrity, my realignment, my everything, actually. My physicality, my beauty, my like, it cost me everything. I'm gonna get it back, and I am getting it back, and I will be back better than ever, trust me. But it's just to say that I know why it's so important with precision, with truth, with these things that I mentioned, with your alignment, with my alignment, with alignment, each of our individuals' alignment and realignment in life. It's everything.